All right, hello everybody. Today we have Mr. Aaron Waltz on the podcast from Uneekor, and we're going to go into his background, industry trends, um, and business strategies. So let's get started. Where is your role at Uneekor, and what do you do?
Hey, good day. Thanks for having me. Aaron Waltz, Vice President of Sales here at Uneekor, specifically looking at our B2B category and our custom division.
All right, and what does that look like for you? What's a typical day for you at Uneekor?
Sure, it's usually pretty busy. So as you can imagine, golf simulation and golf businesses is a extremely busy marketplace right now. So a lot of new opportunities are out there in the marketplace for people that are looking to add golf simulators to their existing business, office, golf course, or just start a whole new business for themselves. Another vertical in their financial portfolio. So we get
Gotcha.
everybody from head golf trainers, fitness centers, gyms, people that are TPI certifications that want to add a golf simulator to their gym space, 24/7 membership models, different places, even hotels, looking for new amenities to add golf simulators to their space. And then it's been really hot in the brewery category. So a lot of breweries are super interested in adding a golf simulator to their space just to add a little different level of entertainment. So you've seen a little bit
That's
of
right.
different fun things in the marketplace when it comes to bars and entertainments, from throwing axes to darts and billiards, and golf simulators fit
Right.
right into the mix. Usually a little safer than throwing axes entry.
That's right. Sometimes, well, you never know. This kind of guys you get in the simulators, they can cause some problems. How do you fit into like as the VP? How do you fit into the bigger picture Unicore? Like what is something you provide to them?
Sure. Well, when you look at Uneeker, when the company first opened here in the U.S., they were primarily a launch monitor company. So they were just selling the one piece of hardware to DIYers, to people that are open a golf simulator business, and or to our reseller distribution network. So we were very much just a singular hardware company. And when I came into the Uneeker team about 2.5 years ago, we did a deep analysis of, what are we? Are we a simulator company? Or are we a launch monitor company? And overwhelmingly, we said, hey, we're a simulator company. So if we're going to be a simulator company, then let's pave the way for the residential consumer, the commercial consumer, the business, the golf course. Let's give them, all the tools possible to be successful to put a simulator in their space. So whether it's our team doing a complete build out or the customer doing their own DIY install. So it's been exciting going on part of this journey, and it's a lot of work. So it's a lot more. It's a lot more components. When you're just selling launch monitors, you have one variable. When you start doing
Right.
complete simulators, you're adding a lot of things to the mix, and there's a lot of education when you're working with clients on, what is a commercial grade projector or a high level 4K projector,
Right.
gaming PCs versus just, buying something off the internet, and maybe it works or maybe it doesn't. So a lot of that strategic planning is super important. And then we move into some of the other logistics. As a simulator company, what does the customer want? What does the home consumer want? What does the commercial customer want? And when it comes to playing virtual golf, performance training, golf leagues, tournaments, specialty events, things like that. And every customer classification seems to want something a little bit different. So bringing all those elements to our ecosystem has been really important. And how do you really make each customer segment happy? Because
Right.
the commercial business owner always wants something a little bit different than the residential client. So the other things with, commercial business owners, they want tea time integration software, booking platforms, things like that, which isn't much different than running a golf course. So if you're running a golf course, or if you're a golf course owner, more than likely, when you go to the PGA show, you're going to see all these different software providers for food and beverage, point of sale system, membership management, golf shop, inventory control, and then also tournament software. So there's some companies that try to check the box with as many of those items as possible, or you just look at systems that integrate together. So you allow each independent company to be very successful and specialize in what they do, and then integrate under one platform.
Gotcha. So what you do is you pretty much dive into the target audience and make sure they're getting the most of their experience and making sure you can deliver the exact thing that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. And not all the investors in the golf simulator space have a golf background. So
Right.
that's a little tricky also. So it's a completely new market segment. They know about it, they've researched it, they see that it's growing. Um, there's a huge indoor and entertainment presence in the golf world right now, and they want to be an investor in that market segment. So hopefully one of those investors has a strong golf background to some extent to fill in the gaps and have a little bit understanding of what the customer journey would be. So having that customer
Right.
centric approach is pretty important for a facility owner if they want to be successful. So as we see, the most successful facilities are people that have a golf background and a golf passion. And the most successful, let's say, food and beverage facilities with golf, they blend the both, where they bring in an expert that knows how to run a quality food and beverage operation based on the type of segment and demographics that they have their business in, and then
Hmm.
add the golf element to it. And it's not always just entertainment and parties and things like that, where Top Golf seems to have that entertainment stigma associated with them. Most golf simulator businesses aren't necessarily that. There's some that try to copycat that modeling, but by the masses, you're really looking at more performance, food and beverage, fun social entertainment, golf leagues, and then just the strict instructors where people really want to get better at their golf game, and they want to belong to an indoor golf club that may have an instructor with it. So it's pretty nice to
Right.
have so many different verticals within that. Where some of the other segments, if you were going to buy a fast food restaurant, if you're going to buy a McDonald's, this is what you're doing. There's nothing new or exciting happening within the McDonald's segment, where really in the golf simulator world, you can choose different verticals that you think you'll specialize in the best.
Right. Right. So you're taking advantage of that trend of the new and emerging indoor facilities, like your membership based kind of stuff, and then your restaurants. Also, you're taking advantage of that and kind of innovating the market.
Yeah, it's indoor golf instruction and simulation has been around for a long time. It was just a matter of how good was it. And it's safe to say that Golf Tech was probably the first major company to streamline indoor golf instruction. And when they first opened all their facilities, they were using golf technology, and you were still hitting into a net. So you're hitting into a net, and you had awesome feedback. They ran they created some custom programs that would kind of give you like a good, better, best type of thing when you would hit golf shots and get feedback. But they were
Hmm.
measuring. So they were doing a great job at measuring a student's performance. And then you could analyze where their weaknesses were. Well, now as they really paved the way for making indoor instruction and training very popular. And then in the modern era, now that full simulation has taken off with, higher level graphics and projectable screens where you don't have to hit into a net anymore. You're actually hitting into a virtual environment.
Right.
It's really, I would say, someone that wants to start a business today, as opposed to 15 years ago, it's a lot easier because it's very common and known in the market.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's great. It's definitely if you've never done it, it's definitely a fun thing to go experience and go to one of these brand new things. Let's dive into the more business aspect. What are your main challenges? And then from there, we'll move on to what you're doing about it and your goals for the future. But right now, what are your biggest pain points, challenges, stuff holding you back from the growth you want?
Yeah, probably the biggest pain point or challenge is really identifying the best third party partners. So, as I spoke about earlier, uh, when a new commercial owner comes into place, some of them already have systems that they want to integrate and how they want to run their business, and others are really looking for those answers. So, for us, as we don't own these third party companies, We just want to ensure that if someone chooses a third-party company, does it interface with our system well? Is it operator friendly? Do we have other clients in other regions that have had success with different with different brands? So whether it's a CMS system, online tea times, online payments. Some people are using the 24/7 gym software. It's already been out there. It's really good. It may have opportunity to rent lockers, maintain the database with the members. Other facilities are completely wide open. So they're doing everything possible to make it, smooth and easy for the clients that are coming in. And can they build a good website themselves? Or how do they know if they're getting a good website? So if we've got a couple vendors that we've seen in the past build really good projects, we can have a nice referral for them. And then, of course, the biggie is always financing. In the banking world, this is still a little bit of an unknown. They just don't know that much about this market segment. So for some investors, if they're not fairly liquid as they go to start, they really struggle with banks and being able to get a good, secure a quality business loan to get them up and running. That first property, once they get their first property going, it's a lot easier to expand, to property 2, 3, and 4. But the first one's always the biggest hurdle, as is, most businesses,
Yeah.
unless you're a paper boy or mowing grass as a kid. Those are those are easy jobs to bankroll.
Right. So you're saying the main challenge isn't your service or your product that you provide. Your main problem is finding that ICP and the right target audience that can benefit the most from your service. Obviously, you're not trying to sell to someone that doesn't understand golf simulators or someone that doesn't know how to integrate it with their software, but you're looking for someone that is the right fit.
Yeah, absolutely. So by time we vet people coming in with new opportunities or ideas or concepts, they've already studied the market fairly heavily. They've participated in the past to some extent, and they want to know more about it. What does it cost? Where are barrier of entries? And then, we're figuring out a lot of questions with them in the journey. Because some people just look at strictly square footage, how many bays can I get in a square foot, and they don't really look at the right customer experience. Those generally are not the type of people that are going to open a successful simulator center. They want to see, can I get a bay every 9 feet for a golfer? And the answer is no. You generally need 15 to 18 feet of width for a really quality experience for guests coming in to accommodate left and right-handed players. So based on the market, if they're looking for really select high-end retail space, they're not going to be able to afford that. Where golf simulator businesses don't necessarily have to have an amazing storefront, let's call it 5-star location. They can be 3, 4 streets off the beaten path. Some of the very successful training facilities sometimes are in business parks or warehouse districts because it meets all the needs. And a golfer, swinging a golf club indoors, a golfer likes that open space. So if you can get into some pretty good, warehouse space or industrial space where you have ceilings that are 15 feet high, the golfer feels really good about swinging the club in there. And
Right.
then you can create some space a little differently where if you have ceilings that are a little bit lower, 10 feet we don't like things much lower than 10 feet. But that even feels a little cramped for some golfers when they get in there. So you want to create that atmosphere that's really strong for the guest when they come in. And that's a lot of, counseling with prospective investors on trying to, because sometimes they're just looking in the wrong spot for the retail because they feel like they have to be next to other franchise models, high traffic area. We don't need to for most markets. Most markets, people are going to drive there with their golf clubs. They're looking for these type of services, whether it really doesn't matter the geographic location of the country because there's hot seasons in both segments where indoor golf is super busy all
Right.
winter in the northern part, in the southern part of the country where it's super hot. They're very busy in the summertime. People want to be able to train and play virtual golf in a controlled environment.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Definitely the wintertime for up north and the summer for down here in Florida. I don't want to be outside golfing when it's 100 degrees.
No, and you lose daylight in the winter too. So even though in Southern Florida, you can have great days of golf. I mean, when it gets dark at what, 5:15, 5:30, if you're a
Right.
standard working professional, you love golf, you can play on the weekends basically, or
Right.
in a virtual environment, right?
Right. Right. And then, and from a growth standpoint, after taking into account those little drawbacks, uh, what's your goal in the next 6 to 12 months? Where are you guys looking to scale to?
Yeah, so a couple things. I guess when you're looking at the growth segment, we're always looking at different verticals and different opportunities. And you look at some of these one-off projects and say, what's the standard? What's going to be the newest thing that people want? And one of the big areas that, I mean, it's new, but it's not new. But getting people to come back to the office environment is challenging after COVID. There's so many
Hmm.
people in the professional setting began to work remotely very successfully, but big corporations still had these huge lease spaces. So what do you do to entice new talent to come into the office, or retain existing employees? And one of them is adding new amenities. So as you look at big companies and corporations, it's not uncommon for them to have a wonderful employee gym, fitness center, daycare, doggy daycare, and then golf simulators are fitting in the space. We did a
Right.
couple really nice publicly traded companies. There's one here in West Michigan, just north of Grand Rapids, and their employee fitness center, it's phenomenal. I mean, I cannot believe how nice it is. Elevated track, pickleball courts, weight room, trainers. They have basketball leagues during
Wow.
lunch, and the two golf simulators fit in perfect. They had two nice open spots around their track, and we were able to put in two beautiful simulators. And then they have locker rooms that a lot of friends within the business, they would share a locker, and which is pretty cool. You think about Michigan, and you've got that terrible winter time. They can just leave their
Yeah.
club straight in their locker at work, and they have, within reason, the gym access it's not a 24/7 gym within the corporate space, but the
Hmm.
hours are pretty phenomenal. So
Right.
it's funny where people want to, some jobs people can't wait to leave the office at 5 or 6 o'clock. Here's a corporation that's created a secondary social environment
Right.
on campus that employees actually don't leave. You're done working at
Right.
5 o'clock, and employees stay engaged until 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, which is pretty cool. So it creates a different environment, and one of those places you want to work. So
Right.
that
Right.
that segment to me is really exciting because they do have space. So a lot of these, so as they've reduced their number of workforce of in person, has also opened up some space within their parcel, where if they want to add some amenities like this,
Hmm.
it is viable.
I mean, hey, if I was an investment banker in New York, I definitely want to go to work every day if there was two simulator bays in the office. I
Oh
bet
yeah.
that opens
Well,
up about a lot of opportunities for you guys as well. Opens up a whole different market of rather than being like golf focused and company in the hospitality industry and restaurants and bars and performance centers. That opens up a whole new sector in the finance world and in the banking world, all that sort of stuff. Definitely a lot of space
well,
for growth there.
and if you think about the finance world or corporate entertaining, so if you're a business that's used to doing corporate entertaining and a lot of business outside of the office, and you're bringing in new team members, well, having ability to play golf proficiently with clients is a major skill set. So
Yeah.
you'll see a lot of former NCAA athletes that are golfers that get great jobs because they're out in the marketplace, they're on the golf course, they're entertaining, and entertaining goes into sales and relationship building. Well, you could bring in the greatest team member ever that you think is going to be phenomenal, and you take them out to entertain clients. If they're a complete embarrassment on the golf course, they're never going to be asked to participate in that again. And if
Right.
in a lot of the top clients, I mean, golf is huge in the business world. So even having performance training within that segment to make sure your team's proficient to go out and participate in that. I've got one of our former Ferris State students. He was an NCAA coach for a long time. He's in Texas, and he was hired on by a corporation to do exactly that. Is to basically he is their corporate golf professional. He teaches the executives. He does high level entertaining with them. They play in tournaments, but that's how they're conducting business. He's not selling oil. They're an oil
Right.
company. He does not sell oil. He's doing other things within the business, but it's not any different. Companies have HR managers, they have accounting teams, they have all these other teams in place to make them successful. Well, if that market segment is very important for you as a business, it's not unrealistic to add a team member or a simulator to
Yeah.
complement what you're trying to do, big picture approach. Because really, to add a golf simulator is a very nominal cost for a business
Right.
compared to closing huge multi-million dollar or billion dollar contracts.
Right. It's almost like an investment in themselves with a huge ROI, what you're saying.
Yeah, it really is. And, being based in Michigan, having a simulator at my house, I mean, I love it because I can train and practice. If I've got an event in February in Vegas, I can train for, weeks indoors and my ball striking is going to be solid. And I'll
Right.
have no worries about going to Vegas and playing golf in a tournament for a couple days and knowing that I'll be proficient. Now, putting on Bermuda versus bent grass is always different, anyways, but it's not a big deal. It's not like my ball striking's completely off because I haven't swung a
Right.
club in 2 or 3 months. Like, no, I've been hitting golf balls, I've been performance training, friends are coming over, we're playing virtual golf, things like that. So
Yeah.
it definitely gives you confidence to really play golf anytime.
Right. Yeah. That's great. If I had a simulator in my house, I'd be down from a three to a one probably. So that'd be nice. What are you guys doing right now to work on getting into those new sectors and uh, getting into like the finance and the corporate world? What's your focus for that?
Well, a lot of it's just awareness. I think for executives that are in that world or belong to a private club, their golf course may they're going to have some type of launch monitor technology, or their friends have a simulator. So now it's just depending upon what do those look like. Do I want something that's like a little, basically it's a bird cage that I'm hitting golf balls into,
Hmm.
or am I looking for something that's really nice, high end, and custom that definitely complements what our business looks like. So we've started new advertising initiatives using the LinkedIn profile or using
Hmm.
LinkedIn platform. So general social media advertising is going to hit by the masses most of the DIYers. Those are the people that are just looking to get that system. It could be in their garage, their basement. They might have a full dedicated space, but generally they're not the business investors. So the business investors
Got
you
it.
will find more in that LinkedIn category. So that's been an excellent avenue for us. Last year we had a beautiful featured bay at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. So we were the only golf simulator company in Vegas for the CES show, which was great. So even that event alone, the amount of networking we had and high level executives from major airline companies, golf, other technology companies that were. I mean, we couldn't get people out of our booth. I mean, they absolutely
Right.
loved it, and it's different. The way the Consumer Electronics Show's set up. The main, Las Vegas Convention Center has all the big wig electronics, and then the other casino hotels. We were in the Venetian. They're segmented out based on your category. So we were in that more sports and entertainment category. So it was pretty neat to be affiliated with that. Of course, there's a lot of e-bikes and things like that, but
Right.
we had a dart guy next to us. So you were
Right.
throwing real darts into a digital board so you could play virtual darts around the world against anybody. So
Right.
it was interesting. It was their version of virtual golf for darts, but you're still throwing a real dart into a digitally sensor board. So it was
Right.
pretty interesting to see some of the different things out there, concepts versus reality
Right.
products.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you go to even at the PGA show when I was there this year, you look at all the other clothing stores and performance, Titleist, TaylorMade, all those other companies out there, and they're a little bit slow going on. But then you look at the simulator companies, and they're all booming. They've got pro golfers in there. They've got everyone's wants to go hit a ball. I think I forget which company it was. Had Trotty from TaylorMade in there. So we have Martin Baumgartner, but it's like all the rage right now is the simulators, and you're just taking advantage of that. It's great.
Well, and we took advantage of that last year, where historically, the last day, the last 2 hours of the PGA show are always slow. People have already packed up and started leaving. So, being a former director of one of the PGA schools, Ferris State, we use my affiliation and my friends with the other directors to get as many PGA schools to do a online tournament. So
Mm,
we did a little NCAA bracket between the bays. We launched our new game day software where you can play head to head online.
that's
So we
awesome.
did a whole match play bracket, and then we gave away a launch monitor to the winning team. So it was a lot of fun. So I think, I forget how many players we had participate. Let's just say 32 or 40 players. So every all the college students, they all got a cool swag bag with some gear in it, and then the
Right.
then the winning team, they won a launch monitor for their school, which
Wow.
coincidentally was Campbell University, which
Okay.
put in a simulator earlier that year of
Yeah.
Uneekor. So they've
Yeah.
got a TrackMan sim, they've got a Uneekor sim in there, and then now they have the iMini to take outdoors to train and
Awesome.
practice. So it was really neat, and I've known the team at Campbell for a long time. They do a great job, and they really wanted the opportunity for their students to learn on multiple technology. Here's
Hmm.
one version, here's another version. They really loved our AI trainer and our body capture software that was a little different than what they were getting with the TrackMan system. So it was great.
Yeah, it's almost like you're diversifying the future golf professionals. You want if someone goes to a facility that has TrackMan, they want them to know TrackMan. If someone goes to a facility that's a Uneekor facility, they want them to know Uneekor. I think it's great. Yeah, my buddy goes to Campbell actually. He's in the program over there, and I think he might have mentioned you guys having the new simulator in there. So that's great. Um, Going back to what you said about targeting the businesses and the social media brings in the DIYers, and you've got LinkedIn that targets more of the professional investors with the new targets you have. Um, and you're targeting those via outreach rather than your inbound leads with the social media. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So there's certain other things that you can do, and that we have done. So you can buy industry lists. So
Hmm.
once you get into, my title is as vice president is just an open door for solicitation.
Right.
So I get solicited very hard, either in my inbox or even on my LinkedIn profile. And I'll respond to most requests. So if somebody wants to be my friend on LinkedIn, and they
Hmm.
always have some type of crazy title of some sort, and I'll check it. I really don't know what some of these people do and specialize in,
Right.
and maybe it's 1 out of 100, maybe it's 1 out of 75, is a pretty viable new connection, and sometimes it has to do with, hey, I've seen your stuff, I found you on LinkedIn, I'm really interested in my personal setup or my business setup. They
Right.
kind of, or they bring a new offering, for different segmentation. Sometimes they assume you're looking at a different segment than what you actually are, which is
Hmm.
okay. Not a there's not a right or wrong with that. About, yeah, just the sequencing with paid lists. So as you're looking at different prospects in the marketplace and you're looking at new verticals and market segments, there's efficiencies out there using your CRM system and sequences where you can
Hmm.
reach out to thousands and thousands of people without over exhausting your sales team's time. It's not
Hmm.
like Will Smith in The Color of Money when he had to call everybody to try and get them to buy stocks, right?
Right. Right.
Um, those, those days are long gone. Either you're going to use an auto dialer that's already preset, or you're
Hmm.
going to use quality sequencing, and then you can see what the analytics look like. Do they open emails? Are they clicking into your different messages? And if they are, now all of a sudden you see there's some interest down there. Or if it's getting unsubscribed or spammed, that's fine. You'd almost rather have that happen, that if it's
Right.
not of interest, then it goes away, or they're just not relevant because they've changed careers. But
Right.
I like a little bit more of an interactive approach, paid advertising and marketing within the social media platforms, and even doing stuff like this, trying to
Hmm.
do as many podcasts as possible to talk about, a company like Uneekor that's only been operating in the US for 6 years. So it's still a
Right.
little bit of a new name in the in North America.
Right. Well, let's hope it's becomes more well known. Seems like a good investment for most businesses. Well, that's Aaron. Thank you very much. That's most of what I have for you. I appreciate your time and you sharing this insights with us. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.